Hi, Annette Lang here. Welcome to my podcast, The History of Personal Training, or at least my experience in it. You'll hear lots of my stories, and you'll also hear lots of interviews with really cool people whom I've met through the last 30 years that have been influential in my life, my experience, and the development of this profession we call personal training. Enjoy! Okay, here we go. Deb Killmon, it is so nice to see you. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
My pleasure, Annette.
Now I don't see you at all.
Uh-oh. Wait, stop sharing.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
So what I usually have been doing is asking people, just to tell me about your story, why you got into fitness, how you got into fitness, and I'll just jump in with questions when I want to.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I was trained as a physical therapist.
Right.
My undergrad degree was in psychology, which was helpful for my career as a physical therapist, and then eventually getting into personal training. So initially, I worked at a hospital for about 4.5 years, but I always knew I wanted to work in health and fitness, helping people.
So, Deb, can I just interrupt? What years are we talking about when you were at the hospital?
1994 to almost 1999.
Okay, and you were uptown Manhattan, right? That hospital?
Right, up at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital.
Uh-huh.
And during that time, those 4.5 years, I was a member at Equinox Fitness Club on the Upper West Side.
Right. When there was only one location, right? Or maybe two, right?
Well, the first one, I'm not sure, but I was at the first one, which started in 1991. So
right.
I came there in 1994 as a member. And then as I knew I was finished at the hospital, I needed a new challenge. I segued into health and fitness and started working as a personal trainer at Equinox. And within about 4 months, became the fitness manager.
Right, I remember that. Because I had been there for a few years by the time you started there, I think, right?
Right,
yeah.
For sure. So as the fitness manager, both of those positions, I had my clientele. And then I worked with the personal training manager as the fitness manager, helping to hire new trainers, helping to educate them and orient them to just learn the ropes as a personal trainer in the company and working with clients, etc. So I worked at Equinox for about 4 years. And then one of my closest friends opened up a private training studio in the neighborhood.
Which one was that, Deb? Was that Elysium now?
Fitness Club. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I left Equinox, and the majority of my clients followed me. So I saw many clients at Elysium Fitness Club, and then people in the neighborhood, some people right in their apartments, other people had gyms in their building, in the basement.
Right.
So it's a good mix of 3 different settings.
So can I ask you, what kind of physical therapy were you focusing on? Was it in the hospital?
Well, as a new graduate, it was great. We did rotations about every 8 months. So it was great to learn a lot medically and have rotations. For example, you did orthopedics for 8 months, then you switched to neurology, cardiopulmonary, inpatient and outpatient rehab unit. My expertise or time really was initially in orthopedics, but most of my time was with cardiopulmonary patients, with heart and lung patients. Either someone had a heart attack or had an open heart surgery, and I would see them afterwards, or transplant patients where I would see them before their surgery to get them in the best shape possible to have an easier recovery post-surgery.
Because I remember first meeting you, and you still are, I think, you're very clinically minded, and even your terminology and the words you use are very clinically oriented in my memory.
True. Yeah, definitely, because I think, just my training in graduate school and then working in the hospital, doing chart reviews, working with the other members of the medical team, there's definitely a clinical language or perspective. Right. But all that experience, working at the hospital, being a member of Equinox, it was an easy transition getting into personal training, getting into health and fitness, working with people.
And so, what can you articulate what that change was? Why you wanted to switch from the medical aspect to more of a conventional fitness?
Right. Well, I'm the type of person who honestly, after 2 to 3 years, I need a new job. I need a new cerebral, intellectual challenge. I need a change of environment. Because I got to the point at the hospital where it was kind of like every day you came in and you got your clipboard and you went around and you saw your 10 to 12 patients. And that, to me, that kind of monotony over time, I don't do well with that.
Right.
So it was time to have a new challenge, going to personal training, a new environment, new colleagues, new clients, a whole different focus in health and fitness versus someone, post-op their surgery.
Right.
Different, you're on a different front line. Plus, personal training, you're much more independent. You can make your own schedule. There's a whole different atmosphere to that rather than kind of the bureaucracy or schedule of a hospital job.
Right. And then can I ask, what enticed you to try the management at Equinox? Because I know a lot of people try it and then are disappointed. Not disappointed, but just it wasn't what they thought it would be. Or
Right. Well, I had that experience eventually, but initially, again, I needed more challenge. It was great starting out, learning the ropes as a personal trainer with senior people.
Who was the personal training manager when you were fitness director? Or when I was the assistant, right? Or
I was the fitness manager, and Jill. Goodness, I forget her last name. Jill, very tall woman, brunette, very big eyes, very pleasant woman. She was the personal training manager.
I forgot about that. She was
manager. Jill Gilbert.
Jill Gilbert, absolutely.
Yeah. So we made a good team. But yeah, I pursued management because I needed more challenge. I'm honestly.
So is it the same 2 to 3, 4 year thing where you're like, I got to try something different, or?
Yeah, like it was great just being a personal trainer there with my clients, and I was very, very busy. But then I'm like, I need more like intellectual stimulation, challenge, responsibilities, something different. So then as I became the manager, my client list or my sessions per week or pay period decreased a bit. But I liked having much more to do each day, the challenge aspect.
Uh-huh.
And then actually, the management role came to an end because honestly, as a personal trainer, making your own schedule, you have a lot more freedom and flexibility and can earn more.
That's a shame, I think, right? Like people want you to grow with the company, but then there's no financial reward for that.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. But people ask me, like, why would you want to do that when you can have more freedom and make more money being a personal trainer, running your own schedule, having your own clientele rather than being tied to the organization with a set schedule and reaching a certain quota and all the financials behind it. But I did like the challenges. For example, my favorite part of being a manager was the weekly managers meeting, where we would gather as a group, all the managers in the club, and each one person would report, and then we would problem solve. Like, okay, why didn't you reach your quota for the month? What can we do differently? Or, we have these 2 special events coming up this month. How are we going to plan for this? Or certain times of the year, for example, in personal training, New Year's, where there's more clients, new clients, old clients coming to training in January and February, and then they would often fade away.
Right.
So that was my favorite part of management, the problem solving, the critical thinking behind it.
Right. And then, and so then what happened that made you decide to leave Equinox and go to the private training studio? And this was our friends, Tony Hearns.
Right.
Right. And initially, I didn't know the other people he was involved with. Now it's Paul Frediani, right? But
Paul Frediani and Tom Guyman.
Oh, Tom, of course. I'm sorry.
Initially, it was Tony and 2 of his clients, where they were kind of like, well, one was a silent partner, the other was involved, like financials, administrative stuff, and Tony was the real head of the gym, kind of steering the ship.
Uh-huh.
And I left Equinox. I find this a trend in fitness or personal training where you start at kind of a corporate gym, like Equinox or Reebok in the past, and you learn the ropes, you learn the industry for 2 to 3 years, and then you hear the news, hey, if I leave here and go private on my own and be self-employed, I can make a lot more money per hour, per session. Some people want to work less and make more for their time, which I think is often a goal. So it would have been a great run there. I learned a lot, the whole educational program, but it was time to move on and try. I always knew I wanted to try to be self-employed.
Okay. Because I also think like I think that's one of the I don't know if it's paradox or that's just the really real life stuff that happens, right? Like I'm not sure a lot of health clubs want you to stay to have a career because they can't afford to pay or don't want to afford to pay. Like when I used to travel a lot and talk to trainers, I said, can you buy a home working where you work? Like, can you afford things in life that if you worked at a, other kind of job, you'd be able to do, and unfortunately, a lot of times the answer was no.
Right. Great. So the move to self-employment clearly is it's a lot more lucrative. There's more challenges. There's kind of an entrepreneurial spirit of sorts to run your own business. But yeah, I totally agree. The big gyms, the corporate gyms, they don't want you staying on forever because I had a higher pay scale, and I think they want more of a turnover or to kind of groom people to follow their system, their methodology initially, with which I think is helpful for new trainers starting out.
Absolutely. And so then you were at Elysium. I think you're still there, right?
Yeah, I'm there about 10 hours a week, and I see my clients. Most of my clients have been with me over 15 years.
Right.
I mean, if I've been training since 1998, 99, that's about 20 years now.
Yeah.
I still have many people who started with me way back when at Equinox, which is great. I mean, we have a great rapport, a great relationship. They invite me over for holidays. We're very close. So yeah, I see at least about 10 hours a week, and then I travel around the neighborhood to people's homes, and it's either right in their apartment or they have gyms in the basement.
Right.
So,
and you started doing work at the JCC also, right?
Correct. I worked there for about 4 years, and so that was I left there last May. So that was May of 2017. So I guess I started there in 2013. And the reason I did that, first of all, I live right across the street. It was very convenient. But I think, I think like most trainers with the recession of 2008-9, I lost quite a bit of business. Mm-hmm. So then, since then, but anyone who's self-employed, you can go through periods like, okay, I need more clients. How am I going to get more clients? Right. So now maybe I can just put up flyers or try to advertise wherever. But I needed to boost my income. And I knew a few people who worked at the JCC as personal trainers. And one of them being Paul Craniani, I spoke with him at Equinox one day. He's like, yeah, Deb, the JCC is great. It's low stress. You should go over and talk to them. So one thing led to another, and I started working there, which was great. It's a whole different clientele, really. It's a large percentage of people are elderly. So we're talking 65 plus or 70, 75 plus, which was rewarding. But then in the end, I was ready. Like I kind of had enough and wanted a different energy, really.
But would you mind talking a little bit about like how, like when we've talked, you said stuff about like, the older person and like how you feel like you want to affect that, like the shuffle or the balance, the awareness, right? Like,
yeah, I've had times of, frustration. Don't get me wrong, it's great that elderly people, they're not sitting at home on their sofa, eating, watching TV, not connecting with others, because at the JCC it was wonderful. Many people go there every single day to connect with others, and there's so many activities there. But you would often see the same people every day in the gym, which is great. However, I wish we had more of an effect on en masse on the people, the members going there, to ensure there's group fitness classes, there's people working with trainers, a large percentage of people who do not work with personal trainers. So therefore you see people as over the months, over the years, their balance is declining. their gait is slowing and they're having shorter steps. They look like they're walking on eggshells and they almost look fearful and unstable. And seeing that week after week, month after month, honestly, it had an effect on me. Not that sometimes I got upset, but I just wanted to, how can we help these people on a larger scale? Not just one-on-one with clients. Okay, group fitness, there was a lot of classes there geared toward the elderly to help their balance and osteoporotic changes.
Right.
But I wanted to have a bigger effect.
So how do we do that?
Well, great question. I mean, one of my ideas, and I think we spoke about this, is to, and again, I don't know if little books, handbooks would sell in 2018 because so many things about technology and apps on your phone, but maybe that older generation, that kind of third age, as it's called, the baby boomers plus, especially 75 to 85-year-olds, if they had a little handbook bedside, on their kitchen table, in their bathroom.
Deb, don't talk about this too much, though, because you haven't done it yet, and you don't want anybody else to steal your idea. No, because I feel the same way. It's like, I feel like those people who are going to the JCC or Equinox or any other club who are older, maybe they're already getting it. Maybe we need to get the people who aren't even doing that.
Agreed. I mean, I think with everything in the media and the newspaper and just, public service announcements, you could think of public health. I think most people are aware today in 2018 of the value of movement, to move more, to exercise. I mean, ideally the majority of the week being 4 days out of 7. Most people, they're lucky if they get 2. But I think many people don't know what to do, and I think their exercise, and this is better than nothing, but their exercise is walking 2 blocks to the supermarket. And that's great, they're still doing that.
And if everybody did that, we'd be a lot better off.
Correct. That's one thing we're fortunate here in New York City, that it's a walking society rather than get in your car and largely stay in your car and go.
Right.
But I think if there was a way to help people en masse who really don't know, what 2 things can I do every day to help my balance? Or what 2 things can I do to help my endurance, like taking a flight of stairs, or improve my walking, over time, or maintain my functional mobility to keep doing the things that I want to do for as long as possible.
So we're not getting the message out, right? Like I know a bunch of people went to Ursa last week and were posting on Facebook, how like almost frustrated, like it's the same thing, new gadgets, new this, new that, and it's great because maybe one thing will attract somebody's attention. But I agree with you, like we're not getting most of the people to make a change.
Correct. I mean, I almost look at it as like a public health issue, like obesity.
Oh, totally.
Like loneliness is, especially for an elderly population.
Right.
Like, the common things like heart disease and cancer and people's lifestyle decisions. I mean, genetics aside, we can't control that, but lifestyle choices. And a big part of it is about prevention, preventative measures, education, just like hopefully we're educating young students in elementary or junior high or high school earlier to teach them the benefits of exercise so that they practice that hopefully lifelong.
Right.
But especially given that people are living a lot longer now, I think we need more education, more preventative measures to help them maintain their function.
Yeah. That's really well said. Any new thoughts with what you're thinking of, or like I call it pounding the pavement. You're pounding the pavement in New York City, going to people's homes or apartment buildings with gyms in the basement, like myself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know you're always thinking about, I know you've done a lot of coursework for yourself lately.
Correct. I mean, something I'm taking now is a new kind of advanced certification on it's called a functional aging specialist, working with people 65 and over, that baby boomer plus generation, which is the largest growing segment of the population. And there's different ways to train people as they get older, as far as strength training, endurance training, balance training, gait training, power training, reactive forces. That's something I'm working on, which I think is really valuable. Some of it's review, some of it is new. feels great it feels very practical. Once I completed, I'm about 2/3 of the way done. It's like, okay, how can I apply this?
Right.
Somehow have a bigger effect with maybe a publication or proposal to the CDC or some national organization, AARP, something like that, to get out the message more, to have the bigger effect.
Right. I think that's great.
That already exists. I mean, I'm not one to see commercials on TV. Maybe there's commercials on TV at certain times of the day when more elderly people are watching TV, say 6 p.m. Maybe they're seeing commercials about certain exercise, like silver sneakers, or...
No, I think they're seeing commercials on medications.
Agreed. Agreed. But if there was just like they have those really powerful commercials on smoking, where they show someone who, had a throat surgery due to smoking, or who's in a wheelchair with oxygen due to smoking. Something like that. I'm not saying it has to be that extreme, but highlighting the value, the benefits of exercise.
And also, I feel like how, like you said, like people don't know what to do. Like I really do feel like people don't appreciate that if you do incorporate little things more often every day, that does have a profound, effect. You don't have to train for a marathon. You don't have to, become a bodybuilder or whatever.
Right. No, I totally agree. That makes me think of, I don't know if it's a motto or mantra, something I've always thought, this equation, C plus C equals S. Commitment plus consistency equals success. Oh. And I've shared that with clients over time, how to be committed and you need to be consistent, waking up and doing these things for 5 or 7 minutes. And if you are over time, that can really help you. That can really help you keep climbing that flight of subway stairs, or getting into a taxi, or carrying your groceries home, or taking the turkey out of the oven at Thanksgiving.
Right.
But to your great point, and again, I try not to get frustrated, but sometimes I do. When people, they keep showing up and working with me, but sometimes people make comments like they don't see the value. They don't see the value of the exercise over time or today. And this could be, clients who have more medical issues. My clients tend to have, more extensive medical histories. They have knee replacement, they have Parkinson's, they have MS. So people with those issues, other than kind of straightforward fitness, I'm not surprised. Sometimes they might be depressed, they might be frustrated, and they don't see the value of exercise. And I try to explain to them, one of my male clients with Parkinson's, his name is Richard, I'm like, Richard, if you didn't exercise, you would be a lot worse off. Right. Exercise is the #1 way to slow the progression of Parkinson's symptoms. But sometimes it is frustrating because people don't see the value of exercise day to day and over time.
Right.
Because many people, they'd rather do anything but exercise. Unfortunately, they enjoy seeing me. We have a great rapport over time. I try to make it fun and interesting and different, but still, they often don't want to show up because they don't see the value.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with 2 questions that I've been asking generally. What would you say to a new fitness professional, one tip of what to expect out of our profession or what to plan for? And then what would you tell the average person on the street? What does it mean to be a fitness professional? So those 2 things.
Okay. So for a new personal trainer in the industry, or just...
Yeah, one tidbit.
Forward, Well, I think of technology. Things are going towards artificial intelligence. I wouldn't say robotics so much in health and fitness, but I think you might need to even get more involved with your clients. That personalized effect. For example, many of my clients, I write up programs for them. Okay, we're meeting 2 to 3 hours, say 2 hours a week. There's 168 hours in the week. We're meeting together 2 for those hours. this is what you need to do on your own, hopefully at least another 3 hours of the week. So I'll write up, personalized programs that are doable. I'll ask them, okay, realistically, how many minutes, how much time are you going to spend doing this on your own? They might say 25. Like, okay, I'll create a program that's 25 minutes. I'll email it to them. We'll keep connecting via email or sometimes text to help them stay accountable and be connected, which I think helps them stay motivated and, showing up. So I would say that technological aspect, or even like what we're doing, this face-to-face, what do they call it, FaceTime or Skype. So yeah, I would kind of be savvy with that, or just be on top of as far as connecting and making it, the technological advances.
Right.
Or, fitness apps. That's another thing. People, I think, need to be aware. I don't want to be replaced by a fitness app, because there's so many fitness apps now.
Right.
People, I've seen them in gyms, and that's great. Sometimes people, for financial reasons or time reasons, they need their fitness app to be able to do their 7-minute work on their own, and that's great. They can't work one-on-one with a fitness professional. But so I would say the technological aspect. And as far as meeting an average person on the street, describing a fitness professional, what we do.
Yeah, why are we, who care, why are we important? How can we help you? I'm not the lady on Instagram that has 1 million followers. I'm not the one who has the newest fitness gadget,
Right. Well, I often think of it as I help promote longevity. I promote longevity in a real personalized way. Someone coming to me because hopefully they're going to come to me with specific goals, like, Deb, I'm losing my balance, or Deb, I'm getting winded climbing the stairs, or I can't get up from the floor playing with my grandchildren. Those kind of functional things. I think I personally, and we can add value to someone's life to help them, longevity, achieving those or maintaining those functional goals so that they can still live their life as fully and as freely as they want to. Because obviously over time, things are declining, systems are declining. They can't do what they did in their 30s and 40s kind of thing.
Right.
So I truly believe we have tremendous value helping people maintain their function over time.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, I think I'm going to let you go, and hopefully we'll touch base again sometime. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.